A pleasant good evening from South Florida, where we bring you a battle of squads on opposite ends of the Eastern Conference spectrum. It is Inter Miami 2 hosting Chattanooga FC, the third meeting between these two clubs out east. We say hello from Inter Miami CF Stadium. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action tonight. Looking forward to this third and final battle between these two clubs. An Inter Miami 2 side that secured its first victory of the year, and now they trot out a similar 11 to the one they extended on Sunday against Toronto FC 2. Just two changes from that 2-1 victory. One of the introductions, though, Zidane Cadet, the 16-year-old, makes his first professional start. It is the same midfield as the one that took down the Reds on Sunday. Meanwhile, Matthias Marin back between the sticks once more for Inter Miami 2. Well, on the opposite end of things for Richard Dixon's group, it is a side that is currently unbeaten in their last 8 fixtures, and this is what they roll out here tonight. It is 4 changes from Saturday's 4-0 throttling of Philadelphia Union to Daniel Mangaroff re-enters the fray. Alex Krell and Damian Barker-John also on the front line. Of course, Alex McGrath leading things in midfield. And keep your eye on the reigning MLS Next Pro goalkeeper of the year, Eldin Jakupovic, the 41-year-old, off to another sensational campaign. Well, just about ready to get everything underway on a night that has been filled with on and off storms. Fingers crossed that the weather will subside for the remainder of this one. An Inter Miami side that finally, after 18 fixtures, secured its first league victory of the year on Sunday. Won in 2-1 fashion after taking the early lead, but they take on a whole different test here tonight. A Chattanooga side in the form of its season, a side that sits third in the Next Pro table. Will be Inter Miami 2 going from left to right on your screen in their classic pink home strips with the white numbers. Meanwhile, Chattanooga with the hoops going from right to left. And we just await our referee signal to commence the third and final meeting between Inter Miami 2 and Chattanooga FC. And we are underway. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action here from Inter Miami CF Stadium. This should be an interesting one. The first 2 meetings both decided by just a goal. Yes, Chattanooga were victorious, but Richard Dixon mentioning how tough this Inter Miami 2 side is to play against, as that is shepherded out of play, and an early throw for the Herons. Oh, let's look at the lineup again. Flores into the mix. And Chiap away. A Chattanooga side that boasts plenty of experience. As you see Barker-John stroll forward. This is where Chattanooga's at their most dangerous. Krell, the league's second top goal scorer. It's knocked out for a throw. It will be Tate Robertson to arc this into the mix. 29-year-old who posted a career-best 9 goals and 10 assists a year ago, and another strong start to 2026 as he lofts this into the court of uncertainty. And headed back in, Farid Sarsar. Robertson forces a strong save at the near post by Matthias Marin. And it is the first corner for either side. It goes Chattanooga's way. It is Daniel Mangaroff, who has 5 assists to his name this year, although the goal output has dried up in comparison to last season. It's an outswinging ball that's headed away in the heart of the area. And tracked down well. Robertson back forward. Laid off, it's driven goalward, and another strong palm from Matias Marin, and the early pressure from the boys in blue. Well, at this rate, Tate Robertson will have plenty of target practice by the time the night is out. It's his first crack at a corner. It's already their second corner just over 2 minutes in. Another in-swinger. This one appetizing. Cleared away by Flores. Who's looking long and ultimately recycled well by Chayap. What is an Inter Miami 2 side that, as we mentioned, has dealt with its fair share of difficulty this season. No wins in the first 17 games before finally toppling Toronto FC 2 at the weekend. And what a thrilling way it was to win that fixture. Delanois scoring the winner on 58 minutes, and it is an instant goal of the week. 30-plus yards out, a picture-perfect curler that picked out the top right corner. There was no chance for Toronto FC 2's goalkeeper for that situation, and it allowed the Herons to finally secure that elusive first victory. And there have been problems on both ends of the pitch for Inter Miami 2 this year, a side that has frankly struggled to score. In fact, that victory at the weekend was the first time they'd scored multiple goals since mid-April. It just speaks to how much they've struggled there, but defensively as well. The third most goals allowed in the league, and of course it is a team that has had a revolving door of coaches. Today, Rodrigo Vargas, the first-team assistant, takes charge. Here's Flores toward the byline. Ran out of real estate, and I believe it's just out for a goal kick. There's your first look at the reigning MLS Next Pro Goalkeeper of the Year, Eldin Jakupovic, native of Bosnia and Herzegovina, of course, 41 years old. That's the headliner. But when you talk to Richard Dixon, he's quick to downplay that. In fact, Eldin Jakupovic himself not thrilled when people mention his age, because the fact of the matter is he is still an excellent goalkeeper and someone with top-level experience throughout his 23 years as a professional. Of course, he's best known for those 5 years at Leicester City, in which he was part of an FA Cup winning side. And he's brought that pedigree to Next Pro and has emerged as arguably the league's best keeper. Talking to Richard Dixon, he says, look, the age point isn't necessarily the number one thing we should discuss, because the fact is he still has proven he can perform effectively at this level. There's that forward ball as they look in behind, and the offside flag is raised against Edu Seltzer Zubida in the midst of a career season himself with 7 goals. They look forward here, and it's headed away by Vornkamp, one of the few returners from last year's side that actually features regularly. And that is escorted back to the Inter Miami Academy product, Matias Marin, native of Miami, Florida. Vornkamp. First time cross in, it's dangerous. Nearly a golden opportunity. Zelter Zubida was lingering, and it took a heavy touch back to Jakupovic. But early on, you see this game of cat and mouse brewing. Talking to Richard Dixon, he mentioned how assertive the Inter Miami 2 press is, and that can give Chattanooga problems, especially as they build out. Mentioned, especially away from home, they would need to be careful managing that scenario. So far tonight, they managed to break the lines, but Inter Miami 2 has looked threatening when they can rush in behind with numbers. There's a Chattanooga side that they themselves don't necessarily need much of the ball to be effective. They are a very strong entity on the counter, and that was part of the story of their 4-0 victory on Saturday against Philadelphia Union 2. Performance in which, on paper, Richard Dixon said he didn't feel it was the most dominant display, but scored twice in the first half and twice after the restart. And on paper, at least when you look at the score sheet, it was a comprehensive victory, even if perhaps the on-field action may have flattered the boys in blue that night. Almeida. It's taken off the toes of Mateo De Paula. Barker John. His third season in MLS Next Pro. Has spent it with 3 different organizations. Mengarov. Looking for an angle to cross. This is Alex McGrath in year 5 with Chattanooga FC. Mengarov. Charges at Vorenkamp. The cross deflected out for yet another Chattanooga corner. More opportunity for Tate Robertson. For all the talk about last season, in which he was an Next Pro Best 11 selection, already 13 goal contributions to his name this year as well. Here's his in-swinger. It's punched away by Marin. And Chayot nearly dispossessed. All the way back to Jakupovic. His pedigree is off the charts. Eldin Jakupovic, obviously the FA Cup in his trophy case is not too shabby, but spent over a decade in English football and made 28 career Premier League appearances throughout his time between Hull City and Leicester. Of course, best known for being the regular starter during that 16-17 campaign with Hull City about a decade ago. That's the last time Hull City was in the Premier League prior to this upcoming campaign. Chayot. Barker John looking to counter, and he does manage to pick out Mengarov, who keeps it in play. Robertson. For those just joining us, we welcome you to Inter Miami CF Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the former home of the Inter Miami first team. Of course, this year, Inter Miami moving to new stadium in Freedom Park, so as the results, it is just the home of the second team for now, but still a lovely venue nonetheless. It's no score between Inter Miami 2, fresh off their first victory of the season, and Red Hot Chattanooga. Barker John falls for Krell, just over. But if there was anyone you would want that to fall to, it would be Alex Krell, someone who's logged goal contributions in 8 of the last 10 entering the night, and 11 goals to his name. That's better than everyone except one in MLS Next Pro. When you look at that Golden Boot race, it isn't necessarily the absolute tightest because Krell is on 11 goals. And his biggest competition, Arif Kovac, on 15. In the meantime as well, Arnaud Tetavant just passed him earlier this week. Krell was second, but Tetavant now on 12. So currently sits third in the league in tallies at the moment, was second entering the weekend. Well, fans, this broadcast is presented by Royal Caribbean, the official vacation partner of Inter Miami CF2. McGrath. There's Louis Jean playing out of position at left back tonight. Flores. Still looking to rediscover the heights he's hit in years past. Alejandro Flores, a goal and an assist to his name. Of course, last season, 6 goals and 10 goal contributions across the board. It was a season last year that was frustrating for Inter Miami too, but the goals flew in a bit more substantially. Bornkamp. Is that taken away by Robertson? White, 16-year-old out of the academy ranks. Inter Miami too is not shy about elevating their academy players into the second team. Of course, so much investment in the Inter Miami first team that not too many of the players they spend substantial money to bring into the first team are featuring for the second team. So it is unlike a traditional Next Pro setup in the sense that it affords academy players far more opportunity. Not that there isn't opportunity, of course, for academy kids elsewhere. You know what? Chattanooga FC is an independent club, not affiliated with an MLS outfit, so they themselves are far older than the average side. It is a pair of squads that exert opposite philosophies when it comes to player development and player personnel. Chattanooga, far more about established talent and providing a platform for those who have maybe been overlooked. Inter Miami too, more about the younger talent that are trying to get into the first team one day. A quarter of an hour gone, and as things stand, nothing to separate Inter Miami 2 and Chattanooga FC. It is the 9th meeting between these two sides since Chattanooga joined MLS Next Pro 2 years ago. And Inter Miami just one win, 5 defeats, and 2 losses, and have not won in the last 4 meetings. Of course, Chattanooga victorious in each of the prior 2 this year, including that 1-0 victory on July 4th in which Alex Krell wreaked havoc. The only other meeting, a 2-1 decision on this very ground a few months prior. Jakupovic under pressure. Sprays this towards Barker John. Mengarov. Louis Jean, his 4th season in MLS Next Pro, 2nd straight with Chattanooga after 2 years with Austin. And here he is once more, although it's headed away by the 17-year-old Nassim Jenna. Here's a quick turn, and numbers racing forward for Inter Miami 2. It was a Travella ball that was far off its target. Well, for Chattanooga, of course, this is the club with arguably the proudest history in MLS Next Pro. side that dates back to 2009, and so many community ties in the local Chattanooga area. They've been building fans ever since their NPSL days. Of course, they've been a professional outfit since 2019 when they joined NISA and made a name for themselves there before making that move 2 years ago to Next Pro. And last season, their first ever trip to the playoffs, falling in Eastern Conference quarterfinals to Huntsville at home at Finley Stadium. As this is played back to Robertson, who blasts it right at Marine. But more tests for the 18-year-old Inter Miami goalkeeper. When you think about how Chattanooga FC has established that connection with the local community, it is rather remarkable. As we mentioned, they began in the NPSL, which is a semi-pro division, and they were very successful, reached 4 national finals during their decade in the NPSL. Now, they didn't win any, but the fans followed, and in addition to that, they've implemented a Green Bay Packers-style investment setup for their fans to provide public investment and funding. Have raised well over 6 figures. It is a squad that, despite being an independent club, has continued to battle with Next Pro's best. And with the way they are playing at the moment, 8 unbeaten, you get the sense that if this continues, they're in real conversation for the Eastern Conference top seed. Only 3 points off Crown Legacy entering the night. It's themselves Columbus and Crown Legacy all actively embroiled in that tussle with the Revs not far off. Here's RJ White. Flores. Looking long for Vorenkamp on the underlap, and he does get there. But he left it dangling, and it's a quality challenge there from Henchard. It is Inter Miami 2's first corner of the evening on 20 minutes. Alejandro Flores will take it. It's a training ground routine. Vorenkamp clattered it forward, and it was blocked away by Barker John, who's now in a foot race with Vorenkamp. Barker John cuts back. Support in the form of Mengaroff. Now Robertson, who was fouled just outside the penalty area. And this is a set piece in a very inviting position for the visitors. There is that counterattacking prowess on full display. Barker John shielding the shot and then kick-starting that mad dash forward for the boys in blue. Tate Robertson is one of the 3 in the immediate vicinity. Certainly favors his right boot. Alex McGrath and Mengaroff are also lingering. It is Robertson to take. He rolled it under the wall, but it was comfortable for Marin. Robertson is something of a free kick specialist, established that reputation for himself all the way back with Chattanooga in their NISA days, and then in USL League One with Lexington. He was an expert from those sort of scenarios. It's no surprise that he is the man tipped to take a free kick from that sort of distance. Henchard. loses out and commits the foul at the end of that. And he has shown the match's first yellow card for his troubles. First man in the book either way, and it is Matthias Henchard, the 24-year-old center back. And around the midway point of this first half, Inter Miami 2 still hanging about, looking for that breakthrough. Remember, the first meeting on this ground on May 8th, they did take the lead and then conceded twice, including a dramatic late winner by Chattanooga on 90+5. It was Zeltzer Zubaida who opened the scoring, and then 2 penalties for Robertson and Farid Sarsar to make the difference. Here's the cross from Flores, headed away by Henchard. Ranging forward now, a long-range hit. Jakupovic gets a glove to it, and then finally collects after his path was impeded. That was a real crack, though, from distance. Starting to see Inter Miami 2 find some enjoyment on the ball. Well, fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Baptist Health, the official sports medicine provider of Inter Miami CF. Baptist Health welcomes you to experience the warmer side of care. For those that are just joining us from Fort Lauderdale, we say a pleasant good evening on a slightly overcast humid night. There's no score between Inter Miami 2 and Chattanooga FC. Pair of half chances either way, but neither side with a breakthrough just yet. Chattanooga probably with the more of the chances, but very few have truly troubled Matias Marin. Well, moments ago, there was some signs of life the other way. Jakupovic's palms were stung from about 25 yards. Of course, Inter Miami 2 is finally on the back of its first win of the season. Came on Sunday in 2-1 fashion against Toronto FC 2. And as we mentioned, this Chattanooga side in red-hot form, unbeaten in the last 8 and doubling up opponents by an 18-9 scoreline in that stretch. Not to mention, it is a side that's toppled the Herons twice already this year. Janot plays it backwards. Almeida. To Paula. Vornkamp. Cleverly done to get beyond Louis Jean. Morrison, 17-year-old Inter Miami CF Academy product, has carved out a frequent role at left back of late. Morrison. There's plenty of runners nearby. But he'll take it himself. Vornkamp overran it though. Barker John. Dispossessed. Zeltzer Zubaida. Vornkamp with a crack. Rolls though to Jakupovic. They continue to draw him into action though from long distances. And Chattanooga breaking lines the other way. Krell ranging wide. McGrath. Switch the play towards Krell. And this time Morrison read it brilliantly. But you see the free movement of Alex Krell. Of course, he is one of the top goal scorers in the league and someone in flying form. But talking to Richard Dixon, he says his success goes beyond the on-field performance. He's someone that's willing to make so many unselfish runs for the team and press so assertively. And that's what separates him from just another goal scorer in this league. Yes, he has all the raw tools. Yes, he's a big physical body up front at 6'2". But that's not the only thing that makes him an effective player. He's someone who will prioritize the team and do so much knowing he's not going to receive the ball in that immediate instance. He's someone that initially joined on a trial this winter after a couple years in the lower leagues of Spanish football. And Richard Dixon said that after a week, he knew something was there, but Alex Krell hadn't shown it just yet. So he told Alex Krell to stay for one more week and show him everything he had. Apparently, Alex Krell was feeling under the weather that entire week, but still gave maximum effort. And by the end of that second week, Richard Dixon knew he had to have his signature. Seems to be a relationship that's benefited pretty well for both parties thus far. Here is Krell. Plays it forward. McGrath slips in Barker John. It's a good recovery, though, from Sloan Morrison. Touchdown to Saha. Vorenkamp. He's not shy about bombing forward down the right flank. Morrison. White. First time ball forward. It's towards Alejandro Flores, but it's ushered out of play by Eldin Jakupovic. You look at the disparity between these two sides, and it must be said, it is pretty glaring. Of course, Chattanooga right now, 9 wins to their name, 37 points, just 3 points off of the pace setter in Crown Legacy in the Eastern Conference. That, of course, a major improvement on even last season, a year where they finished with 53 points, and that was good to finish 4th and host a playoff match. Inter Miami, on the other hand, just 8 points to their name. Not a league low, and again, prior to last week, had not won a single match. 13 defeats, and as we mentioned, it's been a revolving door of first-team assistant coaches that have managed them throughout the season. Tonight it is Rodrigo Vargas, who just retired from professional football, a long career in his native Bolivia last winter. He was appointed a member of Guillermo Oyolis' first-team coaching staff on April 18th, and with that has come responsibilities on the coaching staff of this second team. He still awaits his first victory in charge because last week it was Daniel Godoy. Here's Saha, who has a crack. Effort deflected. Now Jena. Too many blue and white shirts in the vicinity. And a chance to build out now for Chattanooga. McGrath. Louis Jean. Low cross in. It falls for Krell, and he drives it in. Chattanooga strikes on the counter, and it's that man again, Alex Krell, with number 12 on the season. He's made a menace of himself, ranging in and around the penalty area, and he makes that run at the perfect moment. And there's that touch of clinical finishing he has flashed consistently all year. Chattanooga 1, Miami 0, and it is Krell once more. And that is how quick they can hurt you on the counterattack. Richard Dixon mentioning that Miami would pose challenges, would put them under pressure. But the moments they could counter is the moments they could be effective. And case in point, moments ago, Krell on the score sheet on 32 minutes. It was well worked, and the Naperville, Illinois native on the score sheet once more. It's now goal contributions in 9 of the last 11 matches. And of course, logging an assist last Saturday, gets on the score sheet here on the following Friday. And now the other direction, that cross wasn't shabby, but too far beyond Mateo Saha's reach. I've already mentioned Krell's experience in Spanish football, and yes, it is the lower leagues, particularly the 4th tier, with most recently Sid de Lealtad. But he did score 4 goals with Lealtad in the first half of the 2025-26 season after a shaky 24-25 season with Sid de Guadalajara. He has enjoyed the scoring outburst of all scoring outbursts, though, in Chattanooga colors. And if Miami is to get anything from this, they'll have to play from behind. The man who came back to haunt them in the second half earlier this month strikes in the opening 35 minutes here. Let's see how Miami responds. Squad that has scored the least goals in MLS Next Pro. Last week, the first time since mid-April, they had bagged multiple in a match. They will require multiple if they hope for back-to-back victories. De Paula squirts it wide to Sloan Morrison. He's looking for options ahead. Zelter Zubida. White. Morrison. Almeida. White. Gets it back from Vorenkamp. Robertson muscles him off it. And this plays into Chattanooga's hands, it must be said, because now they have a lead to nurse. They can afford to absorb more pressure before breaking like this. Parker John slipping it in behind for Krell, but too much on it. Well, fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Lowe's, the official home improvement partner of Inter Miami 2. Inside the final 10 minutes now of this first half. And for those just joining us, we welcome you to Fort Lauderdale. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action from South Florida. It is a 1-0 scoreline in favor of Chattanooga FC. Alex Krell on 32 minutes after a sweeping move on the counterattack in which Mengarov cut it back to him, and he just drove it into the bottom left corner. It was a well-placed finish, and the visitors nudged themselves in front as we tick closer and closer to halftime. It would also be a 9th consecutive match without defeat, so long as it ends with at least a point. Zelter Zubida, dispossessed by McGrath, and this is Parker John, who's made a menace of himself so far. Robertson. There is a rare touch for Luku Sikiewski, a Charlotte native that began his pro career in the later stages of the 2025 season with Chattanooga. best known for capturing back-to-back American Athletic Conference titles with the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. One of the better programs in the American college soccer ranks. Robertson was hoping for a return ball to Louis Jean, but too far in front of his teammate on that occasion. R.J. White. Flores. Still hoping to put his fingerprints on this, as are many of the creators for Inter Miami 2. Zelter Zubaida. And a return ball down the line that is decently weighted. Morrison. Jenna went for goal, but that is the simplest stop our goalkeeper Jakupovic will have to make all evening. Now you look at his numbers last season, and they jump off the charts because it's very infrequent that you see someone who leads the league in saves do so at such an efficient clip, because usually when players lead the league in saves, they're being peppered beyond belief. Well, last year, Eldin Jakupovic led the league in saves with 124. It wasn't close, and kept a league-high 10 clean sheets. It speaks to his quality. It speaks to his experience. And this year, well, the save rate has dropped from its absurd 77%. It is still not shabby by any means, and he's top 4 in the league in saves as well, with the joint 4th most clean sheets. So consistency key. Vorenkamp's cross loops out of play. McGrath looks for Mangarov, who set up Krell's opener. Has Krell with him. Robertson drives it across the face, but no one there to tap it in. He was looking for Alex Krell. Chayap, NC State graduate, gives it away here though. This is Flores. Zelter Zubaida. Flores again. Vorenkamp. Inside the final 5 minutes of the initial 45. At the moment, Chattanooga in the catbird seat. A fixture that's going the way many neutrals might have predicted. It is a Miami side that has been game. The question is, can they break through? It's been the primary accomplishment that's eluded them for large spells this year. Almeida switch to Vorenkamp, and it's well weighted at that. Morrison. Zelter Zubaida weaving through trouble, plays it forward. It's a dangerous ball. It's off the post. It's still loose. Cut back and another save. Jakupovic does his duties, and the third effort is much tamer. Mateo Saha and company in and around the penalty area, and at one point had Jakupovic beaten, but they couldn't creep it in that right post. And Chattanooga, by the skin of their teeth, remain narrowly in front. But that, the best chance to date for Inter Miami, too. Flores. Vorenkamp. Do they have something in their locker before the half? That ball was dipping with plenty of whip. And it is kept in play. The ensuing cross, Farid Sarsar first to it. And now Krell for Chattanooga. Louis Jean. Robertson. Switching it towards Corral, who heads along. Parker John charging after it, but he will lose that foot race with Matias Marin. Spent last year bouncing in and out of the 11. This season, though, he has been the frequent starter. Started all but 2 matches this entire year. The numbers aren't shabby. 58 saves, that's 3rd in the league, but he's been peppered. That's a brilliant ball, and it is a last-ditch challenge from Farid Sarsar, which does the job. We saw Zidane Cadet, who was in the mix during that chaotic sequence that resulted in the shot that hit the post. Once again asking questions. Henchard. And it is a unforced foul. Shove from Almeida, which allows Chattanooga to tick off the seconds as we inch towards halftime. Alex Krell seems a touch shaken up after the fact. He'll try to walk off that minor knock. McGrath. Yusikowski. Final minute of the 45. Does Chattanooga have one final sucker punch up their sleeve? Struck just after the half-hour mark. That's the moment of difference for now. Just 1 minute of stoppage time separates us from intermission. Yusikowski was an inviting ball from Mangaroff, but not one that will find Krell, although it's turned over. Parker John darts past one challenge and has a pop, but it was always rising. This likely one of the final sojourns forward of the first half. Given away by Cadet. Does his defensive duties brilliantly there. Zeltzer Zubida. We've hit the minute of stoppage time. This is the last chance before half. Flores looking for an angle to shoot. Forces a save out of Jakupovic. Now Morrison's cross. That's not shabby either. Parker John scuffs the clearance. And then finally the ball in, punched away by Jakupovic. And that will take us into the halftime break. Well, it is a back and forth first half that sees Chattanooga narrowly in front at intermission. Alex Krell breaking the deadlock on 32 minutes, but a moment of chaos that nearly pulled Miami level before the break. It sets the stage for what should be a fun second half in Fort Lauderdale. Our score at the half is Miami 0, Chattanooga 1. Coming up in our halftime show, a Texas twosome of player profiles, plus scores and August schedules and first half highlights when we come back. We welcome you back here at halftime, where there is a narrow gap at intermission. Chattanooga 1-0 to the good against Inter Miami 2. We head to Houston for this week's player profile and get to know midfielder Matthew Arana.
My name is Matthew Arana. I play for Houston Dynamo and I play attacking midfielder.
Born and raised in Rocheron, Texas, Houston Dynamo homegrown midfielder Matthew Arana is proud to represent the Bayou City.
Matthew Arana, goalkeeper at the mercy of the finish.
Arana picks it up, 2 defenders in front of him, and stings the back post.
I feel really great. I was born and raised there. No one would ever thought a kid from Rocheron would be pro at 15 years old. And I feel amazing to be able to represent Houston, where I'm from.
Arana joined the Dynamo Academy at 11 from his local club Rise SC and quickly climbed the ranks.
I was playing like a year up already. I was already used to it, but it was like a different level still, because there was other kids I never knew that came to this team, and they were all really good, so I started off a little bit slow, but I started getting used to it, and then I went up the rank.
From Houston, getting the first Dream Academy. At 15 years, 5 months, 24 days of age, the youngest first-team signing in club history. 15!
I felt amazing. I was ready. I was praying, hoping my name would get called and I could step on the field. When I got there, we did the warm-ups and stuff like that. And I was warming up, and we had 1 sub left, and I was the last one. I was like, hopefully my name gets called. And when I went in, honestly, it's a feeling I can't explain how I felt, but it was amazing. And playing against a player like Son, that was I never thought I would watch him. When I was younger, I never thought we'd play against him. It was really beautiful.
As Arana developed through the academy, his next step with Dynamo Dos continues to push his game forward.
Arana likes what he sees. Oh my goodness!
It helps me a lot, get minutes in. And obviously this team is still high level. There's a high level of the whole league, and it helps me get minutes so I could prepare for when my time comes with the first team.
He has some really unique qualities to his game that are tough to teach and not many players have. His ability to protect the ball, to be deceptive, to dribble out of situations.
I think the level is just high. And every day you gotta be consistent if you want to get minutes. You gotta work hard. It's tough because I'm like a young player, but I think I'm getting used to the level, and hopefully I could get more minutes in soon.
I love Matthew. He's one of my really close friends. We went through the academy together. We've been with each other to a really young age, and playing on the field with him is amazing. He's a really good player, obviously. You know, if all I have to do is pass him the ball, and he'll get us to the other side of the field, dribbling through players.
His performances in his hometown have opened the door for Arana to represent Mexico at the youth level.
2 years ago, like March, they sent my Dynamo an email and told me that they were gonna invite me to a camp, and I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, it felt amazing. It means a lot to me representing my roots, where I'm from, and my family, and it's a great experience over there. I got number 10 the first time. I was like, it felt beautiful experience for me. When I went over there, I was a little nervous. That was my first time going to Mexico, but the coaches and the players were all really nice, and it felt like a family as soon as I got there.
Through it all, he hopes to make his family proud after all they've done to get him here.
A lot of sacrifices, taking me to all the far tournaments before, because I can't drive yet. They take me here every morning early, and yeah, I really appreciate what they do for me.
So my name is Edouard Nice. I'm from Belgium. I'm 21 years old, playing offensive midfielder for North Texas SC. Started playing for my hometown, Royal Sport. There's not a lot of people in my hometown. It's not really like a sport town or anything like that. It's just like a village, like a small village club. I played there for like 5 years. Yeah, that's where I started playing soccer. Coming from semi-pro back home, never won any trophy, never did anything, and then going to Northeast and just, you know, talking with the coach before joining them. He was talking about trophy, winning a national championship, and that's what I wanted. That's why I joined them, and the first year we lost in the semi-final, and we came up close, losing 0 games, losing 1 game, and it was the game in the semi-final. And then the year we came back, we won it all. So first big trophy for the college as well, first national championship, and it meant a lot to me. Yeah.
FC Dallas selects number 306 Edouard Nice from University of Illinois.
No, it was crazy. I mean, I was sitting with my whole family on the couch in my house, and even my best friend from back home, and I just wanted to hear my name, you know. Thought that was the moment for me, and it happened. So I was really happy. And one of my goals coming to America as well was getting drafted, as well as going Division 1. And just that happening was like surreal. I couldn't believe it in a sense, because, you know, going from hometown club, village, playing 6 years there, then playing semi-professional, you don't expect yourself 3 years later to get called in the MLS Super Draft and signing professional for FC Dallas. For this season, I would say, yeah, I want to be obviously the MVP of the league. That would be a good goal of mine. You know, I mean, everything possible, you know, like winning the Golden Boot, everything. Like, but at the end of the day, I just want to win a trophy with North Texas. I know they won one in 2024, and I want to win one again, you know. I want to give my teammates the best like effort from me on the field, and just like they can look up to me and be like, yeah, this guy is like trying his hardest, and we want to work for him at the same time and just help the team winning trophies.
And we welcome you back to Fort Lauderdale, where our score at halftime is Inter Miami 0, Chattanooga FC 1 in this battle of sides on opposite ends of the Eastern Conference spectrum. It's now time to get a look around MLS Next Pro on a busy weekend that is coming up. This first half has been a fun one so far between Inter Miami and Chattanooga FC. The goal scored by Alex Krell. And you get a look at the upcoming schedule here. It is a loaded slate on Saturday from 7 to 10, a number of fixtures to keep your eye on. You saw there NYCFC 2 is one of the teams to watch. Meanwhile, in addition to that, Tacoma Defiance hosting Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2. And then on Sunday, it is a big collection of fixtures. St. Louis City 2 hosting Real Monarchs. That atmosphere always fun in St. Louis. Meanwhile, the defending champions Red Bulls 2 take on New England Revolution 2. Well, here at halftime, it's time to get a recap on the action so far. Right now, a narrow advantage for Chattanooga FC. The big note from that first half, Alex Krell scoring that 12th goal of the season. That has now matched Chattanooga FC's single-season record for MLS Next Pro goals. He's matched Mehdi Wamri, who scored 12 in 2024, and with the way things are going, you would fancy Alex Krell to surpass that record pretty expeditiously. We'll see if he can do it, perhaps, in the second half, as Chattanooga looks to go a 9th consecutive match without defeat and climb closer to the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Well, that concludes our look around MLS Next Pro. We're going to take another quick breather here from Inter Miami CF Stadium, where at halftime Chattanooga has a 1-0 advantage over the homestanding Herons. Stick with us. We will be right back for the start of the second half.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Yeah, boys hear sentiment, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next, just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now. Oh yes, man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now.
The unique energy of a Sunday night. Ideal for calm music, whispers, stargazing, reflection, and a relaxed environment. Sunday nights were made for this.
Welcome back to Fort Lauderdale, where we are just about set for kickoff on this Friday night for the second half of this MLS Next Pro fixture between Inter Miami 2 and Chattanooga FC. Sam Goldfarb taking you the remainder of the way in this one. It is Chattanooga FC with the 1-0 cushion at the break. The goal scored by Alex Krell on 32 minutes, and that is the point of difference thus far. Chattanooga looking to notch another win if they can do so. When you look at the live table as things currently stand, that would take them level on points with Crown Legacy atop the Eastern Conference table. Now, granted, Crown Legacy with multiple matches in hand, so it wouldn't mean they have true full possession of top spot, but it would certainly put them in the conversation for the number 1 seed in the East, and that would be a massive accomplishment. 2 years ago, of course, a side that narrowly missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker, they'd be in the conversation to finish atop the entire East 2 years later, a year after making that first playoff berth. Meanwhile, for Inter Miami 2, their playoff hopes are pretty far off it right now. They are 23 points south of Connecticut United in the quest for the 8th and final spot. They currently sit bottom of the Eastern Conference on 8 points, and despite notching their first win of the season a week ago, that has not quite translated here to the proceedings tonight. We will see what the response is from Rodrigo Vargas's men. They need to play catch-up in the final 45 minutes. Otherwise, Chattanooga will go 9 unbeaten and make it back-to-back victories on the spin. So just awaiting our referee's second half kickoff. It will be Chattanooga now going from left to right on your screen. Meanwhile, Inter Miami 2 going from right to left. It appears they may be preparing an alteration. In addition to that, Joseph Converse is making his way to the touchline. I wonder who Joseph Converse will come in for. He's been captaining this Inter Miami 2 squad for the bulk of this season at 20 years of age. One of the many Inter Miami Academy products in the squad. And a frequent starter. This will be his third consecutive match as a second half substitute though. And he will replace Nassim Jena. So Converse on for Jena, and that is the first change for either side here in this one, as Inter Miami looks for more of a possessional foothold in the second half. And we are back underway here from Inter Miami CF Stadium. Sam Goldfarb taking you the remainder of the way in this one. First half was back and forth. Miami had its moments, but ultimately it was Chattanooga that struck on 32 minutes through Alex Krell. There was a chance for Miami, a mad dash around the goal mouth kick-started by Zidane Cadet. He had the best chance. That clattered off of the right post, but other than that, it was pretty secure for the boys in blue. We'll see if they can see this out or if Inter Miami can throw a spanner in the works. And early on, they look forward here. It's kept in play well. Vornkamp loses out and then clatters into Stevie Louis-Jean. Boomed into the sky by Jakupovic. Second ball corralled by Chattanooga. They look for Krell. Robertson and McGrath, unsurprisingly, have mopped up every second ball tonight for Chattanooga, especially in the attacking third. There's the change. Jena out for Converse. 20-year-old who is in the midst of his first professional contract, featuring as a reserve once more. Flores has Saha running with him. Sent tumbling by the center back in Hanchard, who, mind you, is already on a yellow card. That one didn't seem to warrant a second, but he'll have to watch himself. Now Zeltzer Zubita's cross. Parker John. Louis-Jean has a runner slipped in behind. This is Mangarov, who supplied the opener. Mangarov cuts inside. Sarsar. Player Richard Dixon raves about his leadership capabilities. Says he is the vocal leader in the dressing room who's unafraid about laying into his teammates when he feels it's not good enough. He is the player that maintains the standards at 27 years of age in the heart of defense. A former Inter Miami 2 player, by the way. It's year 3 in Chattanooga since joining from the Herons in 2024. So getting a taste against his former club here. Yusikiewski. McGrath. Louis-Jean. You have to wonder what the second half approach is for Richard Dixon's group. This is a side that is reasonably solid defensively. 30 goals allowed, ranks joint 13th in the league, and they do have 3 clean sheets to their name, which is top 10 in the division as well. But it's not necessarily a squad known for their defensive impregnability, so to speak. So you would think they'd try to come out of their shell and chase an equalizer when appropriate, or chase a second when appropriate. But at the same token, with the way Inter Miami 2 presses out of possession and the way they can throw numbers at you en masse, Richard Dixon spoke about this pre-match. You can't afford to overextend yourself in possession and leave yourself exposed when you give the ball away. You need to maintain your organization and your shape with the ball. As of now, they seem content to sit off a touch more and make Inter Miami come at them. Of course, that first goal did come as a product of the counter, so it's not necessarily the worst of approaches, but you don't want to invite them on too much. Morrison, not on the same wavelength as Zeltzer Zubaida there. We've spoken a lot about Chattanooga's rise of the Eastern Conference, from narrowly missing the playoffs to hosting a playoff match to hypothetically, if all breaks right, finishing atop the Eastern Conference this year. For Inter Miami, too, it's been an opposite trend in their 4 years of existence. Of course, making the playoffs for the first time ever in 2024 and finishing third in the Eastern Conference that year. And, of course, a lot of their key contributors depart for pastures new, and last season was a more frustrating bit. They went winless in the final 8 matches of 2025 and wound up finishing well short of the top 8 on just 25 points. And this year, as we mentioned, it has been a revolving door of personnel and a revolving door of managerial figures on the touchline, and it's not been a winning recipe. But despite that, tonight even, they've shown their teeth in key moments. Richard Dixon mentioned the importance of respecting their opposition this evening, knowing that their approach is very high octane and it can catch teams out. You get your look at Richard Dixon on the near side touchline. His first season at the helm. He's the interim manager technically after Chris Nugent departed in early February. He was thrust into the interim role after spending just 2 seasons on staff as Chattanooga's director of performance. He said he went from leading a department of 2 to leading an entire football team. And it's certainly been an adjustment, but he feels the transition has been positive. The guys have taken to his leadership well, and he's got everything up and humming. 8 unbeaten entering the night, and on their way to making it 9 unless things collapse here. There's Cadet. Touches it along to Zeltzer Zubaida. To Paula. Wide for Vorenkamp. And that's a first-time ball forward. Converse. Tracked down by Almeida, the center back. Cadet. 16 years old, but already has shown some danger. And this is a clip ball, but it is one that's right at Jakupovic. And perhaps a chance to break the other way. Kraut. Barker John. We'll await reinforcements this time. Chayap. It's a mazy run forward from the right back. Barker John looking for the angle. Lays it off again. Robertson. Chattanooga will opt for patience and try and buy some seconds of rest in possession. They do win a free kick here. And a double swap both ways taking effect. So both teams going amongst their reserves. It will be the introduction of Isaiah Jones, who enters for Luke Husikiewski. That's a like-for-like swap in a deep-lying midfield spot. And in addition to that, it is the addition of Nathan Kohler, a listed center back who has played a key role. Meanwhile, Nash Dearman replaces Theo Vorenkamp. And Ido Zelter Zubaida also exits. So it's Hanchard and Husikiewski off for Jones and Kohler. Meanwhile, the double change for Inter Miami 2. Dearman on for Vorenkamp. And then one more change as well. Free kick in the mix. Here's the first touch from Jones, on loan from Nashville SC, his boyhood side, where he spent his first 3 seasons under contract. That's a scintillating ball from Louis Jean. Robertson. Inching towards the hour mark here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And for those joining us from Inter Miami CF Stadium, we say hello and welcome. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action tonight. A 1-0 advantage for Chattanooga FC over Inter Miami CF2. The goal scored by Alex Krell in the 32nd minute. And on the subject of that Krell goal, we mentioned it at halftime, but that a milestone goal as well for Chattanooga. It matches the single-season Next Pro record at the club set by Mehdi Wamri 2 years ago. And he has plenty of time to break that record over the next 4 months or so. This is ushered wide. And there's the first touch from Dearman, another academy product. The bulk of this Inter Miami team, of course, coming from their youth ranks. That's cleverly done. Cadet drives it across. Now Flores. Converse. Basabe nearly gave it away. He's the second substitute on. White. Dearman again. Deflected cross, and it is the first corner of this second half for either side. Outswinger comes all the way to the back post for Morrison, who's looking for an angle. Teed up, but it curled wide. Looked to be a training ground routine, and Sloan Morrison was hoping to curl that into the top corner with his right foot. Well, fans, this broadcast is presented by Royal Caribbean, the official vacation partner of Inter Miami CF2. Here's Jones. He's slightly more deeper lying than Luke Husikiewski, the man he replaced. Native of Sierra Leone, who spent the bulk of his childhood in Tennessee and joined Nashville's academy at 14 years of age in 2020. Spent 3 years working his way into a homegrown contract, but only featured twice total with Nashville's first team. The bulk of his career spent with Huntsville, where he actually played against Chattanooga in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. That a 2-0 victory last year for Huntsville, a pair of sides that were making their next pro playoff debuts. Chattanooga still has yet to win a playoff match, but it is a team with potential to do so this year. Parker John to the byline, and he wins the corner now for the visitors. First corner of the second half for Mangaroff and Chattanooga. And Mangaroff is something of a savant from these scenarios. An in-swinger that's headed on, just over. Marine came to claim, and he may have misread the high point of the ball. Fortunately for him, that was not redirected on frame. And as we head into the final 30 minutes, it is still a narrow Chattanooga advantage. Remember, if Miami can procure an equalizer and it finishes level, we would go to penalties to determine who gets an additional point in the Eastern Conference table. I think a draw would be a lot more difficult to stomach for Chattanooga than Miami, just given the form disparities between these two clubs. Remember, it was around this time on Sunday that Miami found the winner against Toronto. Flores, Cadet is looking for Basabe, but the ball was read well, and now Parker John the other direction. He looks to switch it, and does so. Mangaroff, first time ball to Krell. It's Krell looking for a second, and deflects back to Marine. Quality challenge took the sting out of it. Zaha on the turn. He cuts it back, but Chayop first to it. And now Krell. It was a clever first touch, but it's one that ultimately ricochets back to Almeida. Miami handles that moment of vulnerability effectively. And that's distributed well to Basabe. Jones, though, mops it up. And that's why you bring on someone like Isaiah Jones, just a active presence in the center of the park that will disrupt those counterattacking moments and also slow the match down. And when you're 1-0 up inside the final half hour, that's exactly what the doctor ordered. Robertson. Mangaroff. He scored his first goal on Sunday in that 4-0 victory over Philadelphia Union 2. He's a Union 2 side that has struggled to replicate the heights of previous years. It is still a statement result nonetheless. Anytime you beat anyone 4-0, especially a team with the pedigree they have. Zaha. have yet to see him truly make an impact. 5 goals to his name this year. And it's driven wide. It's an adventurous run forward. It's cut across towards Saha. It falls again and dragged wide by Cadet. A golden opportunity goes begging for Miami. Cadet kissed it off the right post in the first half. And after that cutback, just dragged it wide of the left post in the second. A frustrating story for his first start, but getting in the right spots. And now Mengarov, Krell. Marine can't keep it from going out of play, but didn't touch it until it went out. It's becoming a direct end-to-end affair. There's a foul given on Flores. And that taken too quickly for our referee's liking. Now played wide. Almost headed away. Here's Louis-Jean. Mengarov. Cadet, first time ball forward. It's a chance for Morrison, but it knuckles the wrong direction. The left back, though, venturing pretty far forward. Since the introduction of Basabe, it's freed up Sloan Morrison to be a little more attack-minded. And the 17-year-old has taken that license and run with it. Gives us a chance to let you know that this portion of the match is brought to you by Ergo Next Insurance. Simple, because it matters. Ticking towards the final 20 minutes from Inter Miami CF Stadium. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action tonight. We thank you for joining us from South Florida, where Chattanooga FC holds a narrow 1-0 advantage over the Herons. The goal scored by Alex Krell in the 32nd minute, but moments, especially for Zidane Cadet of Inter Miami, to potentially level the scoreline that have gone by the wayside. So it sets the stage for what should be a fun conclusion to this one. Right now, Chattanooga clinging to it, but as this wears on, Miami starting to show their teeth a touch more. They just need to find that final ball or that final touch. That's what has eluded them all season, despite the high-octane, high-pressing style. Hasn't always amounted to goals due to the lack of consistency when it comes to the last action. Cadet. It's been an eye-catching first start. He left that dangling, and now Krell. Can't find Barker John that time. Converse. Jones. Here's Barker John. Weaves past Morrison. McGrath touches it along. Hearing word that Miami is readying to further changes. It will be Diego Matos as well as Jeremy Ortela who are getting ready to enter. But before that, a chance on for Chattanooga. That flashed inside. The return ball to Chayap. McGrath has a hit. Strong save there from Marin, who cannot keep it from going out for a corner. McGrath nearly wrapped it up with one swing of his right foot. And it had plenty of venom, and it was bending awkwardly. Will be a corner now for Chattanooga. Mengeroff to take, within swing, flick on towards Krell. Jones recycles. This arcs to the backstick. It was erratic from Marin, and it is another corner, perhaps unnecessarily so. Does offer Mengeroff more opportunity to calibrate his deliveries from corners. He's had a few chances tonight, but that in-swinger hasn't always been pinpoint. Back post towards Krell, and it's over his head. Krell keeps it in play, though. Louis Jean, low cross, falls to the edge of the area. Flipped back goalward, headed across by Sarsar, and then the follow-up header is wide. Not a golden chance to add a second, and instead there will be double changes both ways. It is Matos and Ortela who will enter the action for Inter Miami 2. They come in place of Alejandro Flores and Zidane Cadet, two players who were definitely lively figures going forward. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, it is a double swap up front as well. Damian Barker-John is out. He is replaced by Alexis Arrua. And in addition to that, one further change that sees Yuval Cohen enter the action. Yuval Cohen, mind you, the former Inter Miami 2 standout, who at one point enjoyed a breakout debut campaign with the Herons in 2024. Cohen, 20 years of age, 7 goals and 1 assist to his name with Miami in 2024. Then left the Inter Miami Academy to join Chattanooga last August. And he comes in against his former club as he looks to help Chattanooga round out a season sweep of the Herons. Krell was the other to make way. So the goal-scoring standout for Chattanooga and the goal scorer that made a mark tonight. We'll watch the remainder of this from the bench. Arrua gives it away here. And there is the first touch from Ortela. Well, inching towards the final 15 minutes, and fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Lowe's, the official home improvement partner of Inter Miami CF2. Still 1-0 to Chattanooga. Alex Krell subbed off moments ago. His replacement in Cohen will hope to add that second goal to eliminate any doubt and eliminate the risk of a penalty shootout. But the way Chattanooga's played tonight, they do not want to leave this one up to chance in the dying embers. McGrath and now Arrua, the Argentine. Sarsar. Arrua. And here's Cohen's first touch against his former club. He enjoyed such a fast start to last season as well. 5 goals in all competitions in the first month of the year. And then he just couldn't carry it over through the remainder of the campaign before moving to Chattanooga. He's found in the back of the net sporadically in Chattanooga colors thus far, but we know his potential output-wise. And tonight would be a better opportunity than any to kickstart that goal-scoring trend once again. To reinvigorate it, rather. Almeida. White. That's a heavy touch. Cohen does his defensive duties, and Robertson looking to break a line and does. Adua is in with a partner and cuts it back, but the effort from Cohen is right at Marin, and Miami remains in contention. Another golden chance goes begging, this time for the former Miami man. Inside the final 15 now. A long-range hit that's deflected. And Jakupovic off his line to pounce before Saha can do so himself. As we've mentioned, it is two teams not necessarily known for keeping clean sheets. Just 4 combined between the two squads, 3 of which have been kept by Chattanooga. Of course, they are fresh off of a clean sheet against Philadelphia Union 2 at the weekend, previous weekend, but that came with the scoreline a lot less narrowly contested than this one. And the yellow card will be shown for time wasting to the substitute Alexis Arua. The second Chattanooga man in the book. Here's one of the substitutes in Ortela, Basabe. That's a dipping cross. Was headed along. Jones away. Mengarov is fouled. Basabe. He's looking down the line for Ortela, but beyond his reach. Ortela, the 18-year-old Curacao Youth International. This is just his 9th appearance of the year, the bulk of which have come as a reserve. He's in on the flanks, looking to make a difference. Now he receives it from Basabe. Ortela, cross deflected, headed back in, nearly fell kindly for the onrushing De Paula, but Jakupovic all over it. Basabe. White. Given away by DePaula, and Mengarov racing the other direction. Has Cohen for company, and instead was looking to switch it, but it was well beyond Arua's reach. Final 10 minutes back in. It is still the Alex Krell strike on 32 minutes, which separates the two sides in this nip and tuck affair. It's a matchup in which both teams have had chances to add goals. Inter Miami has left 2 on the table that they could have potentially scored, not to mention the Yuval Cohen chance from point-blank range that was denied by Matias Marin. Sets the stage for a closing chapter that could be quite drama-laden if all breaks right. Morrison is fouled. Gives Miami the chance to manufacture another opportunity. Headed away. Only as far as Morrison, though. Now another cross in. And again, can't find anyone in pink. There's just too many blue and white shirts behind it at the moment. The organization, top-notch from Richard Dixon's group. Ortela. Converse. It's a long-range effort. It was a snapshot that had Jakubovic rooted to his line. And everyone in Chattanooga colors fortunate that didn't find the frame. And before the night is out, one further change for the boys in blue. Anton Sorensen is set to enter now for Chattanooga. Comes in for Tate Robertson in a defense-minded swap. Tate Robertson, a listed fullback that's played center midfield for the bulk of the last few months. Sorensen, an out-and-out left back who joined after 2 strong seasons in USL League One with Charlotte Independence, but does offer some attacking punch of his own. And he adds some fresh legs to the midfield, potentially, maybe adds a 5th defender to the mix as Chattanooga looks to lock up shop. Jones. Mengarov takes that down out of the sky and now can waste precious seconds off this ever-waning clock as a yellow card is brandished. First Miami man in the book. Arua, the offside flag raised against Cohen, and a promising move is nipped in the bud. That is a Miami squad that isn't necessarily known for its ability to rescue points. Given that they've only scored 16 goals all year, it's not necessarily a great recipe for coming from behind when you link a shaky goal-scoring outfit outside of course, the 2 standouts in Ido Zelter Zubida and Mateo Saha. It is difficult to overcome deficits. As you see, Dearman was the player booked for Miami moments ago. Sarsar. Strong pressing from Mateo Saha there. Morrison. Basabe. return from Morrison, who's in an inverted role at the moment. Basabe flashes the ball in. Zaha got a touch, but it's headed away. Now Cohen for Chattanooga. Sorensen aimlessly sprays it forward. It's been the story of these last 20 or so minutes from Chattanooga. Very much prioritizing their defensive organization, with the exception of a few counterattacks, taking no risks going forward. This is all about protecting what they've already established, and at times that can be a risky game. Basabe's cross, not accurate enough. It's been the story of a lot of those balls in from Miami. Sarsar commits the foul, though, on the edge of the area, and he's booked for his troubles. So this is a golden chance for Miami to get Eldin Jakupovic on the move. And it comes with time waning rapidly. At the moment, Joseph Converse seems keen on having a crack. Converse right now the lone man in the vicinity, although Morrison is making his way that direction. It is a massive wall from Chattanooga. 4 men. And it is just Converse over it, who drives it low, but it is right in the direction of Jakupovic. If you're going to beat a former Premier League goalkeeper, it needs to be better than that. And now he distributes it long. It's awkwardly dealt with, but just about done so by Matias Marin. Menkarov made that difficult. Chayap. McGrath. Just a touch much on it. It afforded White the opportunity to recover. Heading into the final 3 minutes of the initial 90. All eyes will be targeted on the fourth official very shortly. It has been a choppier second half, but not many prolonged stoppages. Here's Ortela, an underlapping run from Morrison, and that's clever. Morrison to the byline, goes down in the penalty area, but the referee is unmoved. And now the other direction, goalkeeper off his line, but Marin timed that brilliantly and just took it right off the toes of Yuval Cohen. And is that a moment that potentially keeps Miami in it and affords them the chance to equalize? That's well done. Converse leaves his feet, and the whistle sounds against him after the fact. Shown the yellow card. It's somewhat reckless from the reserve midfielder. And the bookings coming thick and fast now. Farid Sarsar is still slow to get up. Put his body on the line and paid a physical cost for it. That's the type of leadership that Richard Dixon raves about. Speaks about the vocal leadership and his willingness to challenge his teammates, but also the leadership on the pitch by example. Willing to sacrifice almost everything for these 3 points that are just over a minute away from arriving in Chattanooga's account. Chayap. Arua. Chayap once again. Too many pink shirts in the way. And now Saha looking to lead a break. Morrison. Dearman. This is the final minute of the 90. And then it's all up to the fourth official. Chattanooga hunting a season sweep across 3 matches against Inter Miami 2. That's a curling ball. Jakupovic read it the entire way. Well, both of the previous meetings decided by a goal. 2-1 on this ground at Chattanooga with a 94th minute penalty kick winner. Then 1-0 in Chattanooga in front of that packed Finley Stadium crowd on July 4th. It is the same scoreline here, 1-0. But still time for Miami to salvage something. That won't exactly help matters for the Herons. It is just 3 minutes as well that separate us from full time. And there will be no race to take any of these throw-ins if you are Chattanooga. It's just about escorting this business-like display over the line. Long throw from Chayap. Fell nicely for his teammate in Cohen. And we will run it right back closer to the corner flag. Chayap. And wins the free kick. You just wonder, with all of this gamesmanship that has occurred, how much the referee adds on beyond the 3 minutes as this becomes a game of keep away and it becomes a Chattanooga corner. Already midway through these added 3, Chattanooga has managed this very well. And you'd think they'd take it short and just play a game of keep away at the corner flag. Well, that was poked away briefly. And Miami snatches it back with a little over a minute to go. And they will get one final crack at this. It is their last roll of the dice. And everyone forward for the Herons. Marin, well out of his goal now. Sprays it forward, and it's routine for Jakupovic. And if that was their final sojourn forward, they've gone out with a touch of a whimper. Converse, Dearman, this is their last chance. Almeida. Basabe. Ortela. At some point, they have to just launch it, and now they will. Almeida. Cross in. It's dipping. It's away. And it is a challenge by Mengarov that is penalized. And so before the full-time whistle sounds, Inter Miami 2 with a chance from about 22 yards to level it. Mengarov thought he had won a free kick for his side and wrapped it up. Instead, he's penalized for throwing himself in harm's way. And now there is concern for Chattanooga's star winger, who is gingerly back to his feet. And this is Miami's final chance. Mateo Saha is clinging onto the ball right now. So few touches of it throughout the 90 minutes. But he is a striker with a nose for goal. Himself and Joseph Converse are also lingering. And there is a third in the vicinity as well. Now Saha will make way. Converse is one of the two there. Is there a bit of magic in Miami's boots? You could hear a pin drop in Fort Lauderdale. Converse off the wall. Now Saha scuffs it on the volley. Chance still on though. And Sarsar will run out the clock. The full-time whistle sounds, and Chattanooga has completed the season sweep over Inter Miami 2 across 3 matches. They make it a 9th consecutive match without defeat and climb level with Crown Legacy atop the Eastern Conference table. It's Alex Krell who makes the difference for Chattanooga, and he is tonight's man of the match, presented by Adidas. It was his goal that broke the deadlock and made the difference on 32 minutes. It is the only point of difference in this fixture as Chattanooga, for the second time in a month, wraps up a 1-0 victory over Inter Miami 2. Alex Krell, our man of the match, presented by Adidas. Well, that is where we will leave things from Fort Lauderdale. It was a nip and tuck affair, but it's one in which the star forward makes the difference. A touch of class to pull Chattanooga in front before the break, and that is enough to usher them over the line as they saw it out in the second half. Well, for our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Sam Goldfarb. Once again, our final score is Miami 0, Chattanooga 1. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.